Welcome back to The Human Perspective. Today, my guest is Katy Perez. And I just met her in person a couple of days ago. We were having a little party at my house for the celebration of the Day of the Dead.
Dia de los Muertos.
And she's great. And in the next couple of minutes, you'll get to learn a little more about her and about her background. So welcome.
Thank you for having me on, Judy Heumann.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about Latinx.
Sure. So Latinx is gaining more popularity in terms of describing a group of Latinos or Latinas, or in this case, including people who are gender nonconforming. So in this way, it's gender inclusive with the X. And our coalition includes the word Latinx, but also we have the asterisk that people who identify as Chicano, Chicanx, Hispanic, Mexican, Latino, etc., are all included within our coalition. We just happen to choose the Latinx as one of the most, as we believe, one of the most encompassing terms.
And your organization that you've co-founded with many other people is focusing on disabled individuals.
Yes, disabled Latinxes.
Right.
I myself identify as a disabled Latina, and most of our co-founders are disabled Latinxes, I think with the exception of two. One's disabled but not Latinx, and one's Latinx but not disabled, but they're fabulous allies.
Do you mind sharing what your disability is?
Sure. I identify as mentally disabled. There was a time where I called it mental illness, but I like to say intentionally mental disability because it wraps me into the disability community. And specifically, my diagnosis of the day is obsessive compulsive disorder, major depression, and a bunch of anxiety disorders.
And what are you doing now outside of the work on Latinx?
I am a PhD candidate at the University of Illinois at Chicago in disability studies, and I'm also a lawyer, so my research has to do with critically analyzing disability laws.
So tell us a little bit about why you and others decided to create this organization. What's the need?
Yes, I think it's a very personal project for everyone who has been involved. We feel like we've had sort of fractured identities. We live in these spaces, the Latinx spaces, that don't really honor our disability side, and then the disability spaces that don't honor our Latinx sides. And it's been phenomenal to bring together in the first year that we were formed, all the leaders who already identify and who are doing the great work of reaching out to disabled Latinxes in their communities, who felt isolated, who felt like they were living in silos, doing the work on their own. And not only are we co-conspirators, co-founders, members of this coalition, we really have become family. We really have we feel like, a lot of people have said, that we've come home. And we didn't even know that we were. It's so important. Much of my life, I grew up feeling so lonely, so isolated, like no one could ever understand me. And honestly, I don't think I've ever felt so included and so part of community as I have in just the last 2 years since the coalition.
I think the dynamic of disabled people coming together is very powerful. And for Latinos and other groups to be able to come together for cultural as well as personal support. So you may not know, but my husband Jorge is from Mexico, and so family was always important in my life, but it's a little different when looking at, in his case, he's from Mexico, and they enlarged family.
I love that about you. I mean, I'm already a big fan, but then finding out that you're married to Jorge, the Mexican connection.
It's a great connection there. So tell us a little bit more. You had a conference in the summer.
Yes,
right?
We did. It was our second conference, and we're planning our third. The one in the summer was in Berkeley at the Ed Roberts Center. So it was phenomenal. And actually, a lot of us, because we're a national group, so we have people in Puerto Rico, New York. I'm in Chicago. We have people in California. All throughout. Nebraska.
And growing.
And growing. So the way we meet is we do teleconferences or video conferences once a month, and then we have other meetings as well.
So if people want to join the video conference, how do they do that?
Just get in contact with me. Go onto our website, which is, and you have it, you're sporting it right now, LatinxDisabilityCoalition.com. We have a mailing list, but also if you contact me and you want to be part of the organization, I will loop you in. And so we really started off communicating via teleconference. So this conference, a lot of us met each other for the first time in person. And like I said, it felt like we already knew each other. We were already family. It was like coming home.
So,
did you want one of these?
Sure, let's share it.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. This is a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't be eating it, but I like it. Leftover Halloween candy.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your family.
Sure. So, I am the very proud granddaughter of Mexican immigrants who immigrated to Los Angeles from Mexico on both sides of my family. And so I guess, in some ways, I guess I'm second or third generation. I can never figure that out. And I have a sister who's a year younger than me with autism and intellectual disability and psychiatric disabilities as well. And I myself am disabled, so disability just sort of like runs in my family. Including my older sister, she works with disabled individuals as well. The question was about me.
Mm-hmm.
What about me? I am practicing being in the moment, and I'm trying to practice gratitude. So I definitely wanted to take a moment to express gratitude for you having me on this show and to meet you, and for having me over at your house the other day for Dia de los Muertos. It's been so motivating and so wonderful to get all your wisdom. And
my gratitude for you and for others is how the movement of disabled individuals is really expanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very important for organizations like Latinx, because there are some issues that are unique within the community.
Yes.
Many people speaking Spanish, and the ability
Mm-hmm.
to have meetings where Spanish is the language which is spoken, as well as English for people who don't speak Spanish.
Right.
So it's really, I think, our ability to expand our movement and become truly cross-disability in the broadest sense.
Absolutely. So that's sort of the second part, right? So the first stage that we did was we brought together these leaders who already exist, who already identify, who a lot of us are PhD students, we're executive directors, we're already leaders in our community. We've just been in our own little silos. But the second part is we believe there's a lot of disabled people in the Latino community who don't identify, like you're saying, as part of the disability community. They don't know their disability rights. So the next part of our project, which the research component is a big part of that, is to bring people in who don't identify. And that's necessarily going to shift, I think, the disability rights movement and the issues that we think are part of the disability movement. For example, our coalition has been talking a lot about how immigration and disability intersect.
Right.
So hopefully we're pushing the boundaries of what it means to be disabled and including more people. We're an identity organization to identify as disabled.
We also have been talking about the fact that families who don't have the financial wherewithal may not be able to get the services or not be getting the services that they deserve. And maybe you could just really briefly explain what happened in your family with your sister.
Oh, yeah, I was telling you the story. So I went to law school. I went to UCLA Law, and they never offered a disability law course, which is why, long story short, I ended up at my PhD. A lot of missing steps there. But I did learn about disability laws in the summer times because I worked as a clerk in disability rights centers. And so it was there that I was helping other families, Latino families, and I was learning the disability law for the first time. And my sister qualified for in-home support services, through Medicaid, through the regional center in California. But we only found out about it because I was helping other people get their IHSS hours. And so I told my mom about it. My sister was getting like maybe 6 hours of IHSS, and because of my advocacy and because I just finally, as a law student, was able to learn about this program, was able to advocate. My sister got, the full max hours. I forget now, it's like 283 hours or whatever.
So I think this is a story that I hear frequently, or stories of families where the mother and father may not speak English, and they go to a meeting like for their child in education, and there's no interpreter, and the child gets to interpret for their parents, which is really inappropriate. So our 10 minutes is up, and what I'd like to say is, first of all, thank you very much for coming over to do this.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope learning a little bit about Latinx, and we'll have other people on to talk more about the work that they're doing, and we'll put information up so that you can go to their website. But for those of you who are from the Latino community, Chicano community, whatever you call your community, who have disabilities and supporters of disabilities, I encourage you to follow more of the work that's going on, because we want, across the United States, and for that matter internationally, to share the work that's going on in the U.S. I think one thing that's very exciting about what Katy is saying is she is a PhD student. There's a lot of stereotypes about what disabled individuals are able to do, and disabled individuals from different minority groupings. And one thing about Latinx is that it bringing together people from different parts of the Latino community, different backgrounds, and the fact that there's research that's going to be going on now looking at issues affecting disabled people from the Latino community being conducted by disabled individuals from the Latino community is very important.
Yes.
So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you for listening.
Bye.